Hi, welcome to Creative Printers. I'm just going to show you some new developments at Creative Printers, and that's to do with how we attach our dies to the die holding block. Now traditionally on hot foil stamping machines, a die is attached to the die holding block using some die bonding film such as this, which is fine, it does the job, but the problem comes when you try to remove your die from the die holding block. It can sometimes be a bit challenging, and in the process of trying to remove the die from the die holding block, you can accidentally sometimes damage your die and also perhaps leave unsightly marks on your die holding block. So what we're going to show you, just to give you an example, I'm just going to point the camera just to show you a little bit what can happen. You can get unsightly residues of the tape left behind your die. Here we're using a polymer die, but it's the same for metal dies. You could get residues left on your plate, you could get residues left on your die holding block, and that causes problems of evenness. So the next time you try to use another die, and if there's too much build-up of die here, or the die bonding tape here, your plate may not sit absolutely flat onto your die holding block. So okay, let's show you what we have. Let's just move this to one side. We've developed this new block called Locker Block. Now this is quite a clever system which doesn't use any die bonding tapes at all. In fact, just by turning a couple of screws using this Allen key, you can release your die without any damage to the die, without any damage to the die holding block, and it comes off in seconds. There you are. Of course this is a brass die, but it could be a magnesium die. As long as it's sort of 1/4 inch dies, it's not a problem. So as you can see here, it's just a die. There's no residue at the back, there's no residue here like we saw in the early example. You can locate these anywhere you like, this way or that way, and then just simply turn the Allen key, and just lock. There are sharp ends or sharp pointed bits, and they grip the die. Okay, so that's your die now, nicely secured using the die holding block. So for example, let's just go back to the other die holding block. As you can see, you'll probably see lots of scratches and marks on the die holding block there, where we removed the dies in the past and tried to scrape away the residue of the die bonding tape. Let's just actually take this out and replace it with the locker block. Now that already looks smarter, without any damage to your die holding block. It's easy, and as I said, you can change and adapt things very quickly, whether it's a smaller die, larger die. This works wonders. Oh, by the way, should you require a slightly larger, or if your plate is larger and these are getting in the way, the other side is flat. So you can still use die bonding tape on the reverse of the locker block. So it's a dual purpose block. With our Foilcraft machines, you can use some magnesium dies or brass dies. So this is a magnesium die and this is a brass die. If you'd obviously like, you can also use polymer dies. They're thinner, they're more for short runs. But let's focus on these two, the magnesium dies and the brass dies. Now the brass dies cost more than the magnesium, but they are hard wearing and they can be deep etched. So if you're printing onto leather work and you want extra clarity, extra sharpness, then you might be advised to opt for a brass die. Let's just zoom in on the magnesium die, which is the Harley Davidson one there. You can actually see you'll get a nice print out of it, but obviously, you know, in terms of depth of the design, you haven't got that much depth in the lettering here. Whereas if you look at the brass die, you can actually see there's a greater depth. Okay. So, as I said, the choice is yours. Obviously, brass does cost more, but then again, if you're looking for quality, then brass might be a better option. That's not to say that the magnesium die doesn't produce quality. You know, most of the times, a lot of foil printers do use magnesium dies, but more and more people are now looking at the option of brass dies for that extra sharpness and extra edge. If you require any help with brass dies, please give us a call or drop us an email, and we'll be happy to help. Obviously, we need to see a sight of your artwork and be able to quote you a price accordingly.